Let's just go ahead and shatter a major myth right out of the gate. When you picture someone who's committed a truly terrible, violent crime, it's super easy to default to that classic caricature of a monster, right? Someone with this dark, overtly threatening presence. But what if they looked completely normal? No menacing scowl, just an ordinary person you'd pass in the grocery store aisle without a second thought. It's a reality that totally breaks that traditional stereotype. And it begs a pretty profound question. Why do some seemingly average people cross that line into horrific criminality while the rest of us just don't? Okay, part 1, inside the criminal mind. To start unraveling this, we really have to look at criminal psychology. Broadly speaking, this is the scientific study of the thoughts, the emotions, the underlying motivations, and the actual behaviors behind criminal actions. And I want to make one thing absolutely crystal clear right here. The goal of this science is never to excuse criminal behavior. Not at all. It's strictly about understanding it so we can prevent future crimes and, crucially, identify active suspects a whole lot faster. Think about it this way. Traditional police work relies heavily on asking what happened. They're cataloging the physical facts at a scene. But the criminal psychologist comes in and asks, why did it happen? And that shift in perspective is honestly the ultimate investigative tool. It literally allows experts to reverse engineer the what by deeply decoding the why. So what exactly are they looking at to figure out that why? Well, experts dive into a massive matrix of factors. They're evaluating things like personality traits, childhood experiences, brain development, and a person's social environment. They also look closely for potential mental disorders and map out decision-making processes. By analyzing this whole complex mix of biological and environmental factors, they can start to uncover the actual root causes behind an offender's actions. Moving on to part 2, how the FBI profiles suspects. When FBI behavioral experts step onto a case, they are hunting for something very specific: behavioral fingerprints. They systematically track down every single detail of the crime scene. They look at victim selection, the precise method of attack, the physical evidence left behind, and they scan for any overarching patterns across multiple crimes. These aren't just random details to them, they're deliberate behavioral choices. And tracking them is exactly how the FBI filters out people who don't fit the behavioral signature, drastically narrowing down the suspect pool. This rigorous process brilliantly illustrates how profiling practically identifies suspects. Investigators take those tangible clues, the evidence, the patterns, the method, and apply psychological principles to build a highly accurate profile. Basically, they translate the how of a crime directly into the who. It can reveal a suspect's likely age range, their core personality traits, their education level, and sometimes even their occupation. It's an incredibly powerful way to give detectives a highly specific target. Now for part 3, why do people commit crimes? Despite what movies might tell us, there is no single criminal personality. There's just no one-size-fits-all psychological mold. Profilers aren't out there hunting for one specific cartoonish type of bad guy, because, well, that person just doesn't exist in the real world. Instead of looking for a personality type, researchers focus on compounding risk factors. We're talking about things like severe childhood abuse or neglect, battles with addiction, untreated mental illness, extreme financial desperation, intense peer pressure or gang influence, and profound social isolation. You'll notice these are incredibly diverse factors, and they can span a person's entire lived experience. The takeaway here is that crime is rarely, if ever, the result of just one thing. It's usually this messy, complex combination of overlapping biological, psychological, and environmental influences. It is right there at the volatile intersection of these 3 areas that the conditions for criminal behavior are created, and mapping that intersection is exactly how profilers zero in on likely suspects. Let's look at part 4, the art of manipulation. It's important to remember that even nonviolent offenders leave behavioral signatures that investigators can track. Manipulative criminals tend to follow a remarkably specific playbook. First, they gain your trust. Second, they manufacture deep emotional connections. Third, they expertly exploit a victim's fear. And finally, they manage to convince those victims to completely ignore some glaringly obvious warning signs. And you will see these exact psychological tactics deployed in fraud, identity theft, romance scams, and complex financial crimes.
So the crucial point is this: understanding exactly how a criminal builds trust just to exploit fear is going to help you recognize those red flags early on, which is absolutely vital for protecting yourself and your loved ones from becoming victims.
Which brings us to part 5. Can criminals be rehabilitated?
This forces us to confront a really tough question. Can criminals truly change? If you think about all those compounding biological, psychological, and environmental factors we just talked about, once someone crosses that line into criminality, is there an actual path back?
Well, clinical research gives us a pretty nuanced, objective answer. On one hand, some offenders actually respond incredibly well to treatment. They successfully utilize therapy, education, and structured rehabilitation programs to turn things around. But on the other hand, individuals who exhibit severe psychopathic traits are frequently highly resistant to those exact same treatments. Ultimately, the outcome depends almost entirely on the individual's specific psychological blueprint.
And that highlights the core truth of this explainer. Every single case is completely unique. This reality makes criminal psychology one of the most incredibly complex fields in modern science today. Profiling isn't some Hollywood magic trick. It's a rigorous, demanding scientific method designed to decode human behavior. And every single investigation teaches researchers a little bit more about why crimes happen in the first place and how society might prevent them. So I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Now that you understand these behavioral signatures, the hidden risk factors, and the step-by-step tactics of manipulation, how will you use this understanding of the criminal mind to better protect yourself and your community? Because the better we understand the science of behavior, the better equipped we all are. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the why behind the what.